Today's episode is brought to you by the folks over at SeatGeek, the best and easiest to use ticket platform out there. They take the confusion out of buying tickets using a 0 to 10 scoring system and a green is good, red is bad color rating system so you and your loved ones get the best deal possible. So whether it's going to see our beloved Redlegs at Great American Ballpark, the Bengals over at Paycor, FC Cincinnati, one of the area college teams, or pretty much anything in between, use promo code Riverfront at checkout and receive $20 off your first order. Click the link in the show notes to download the app and get started. That's Riverfront, one word, for $20 off.
What's up? What's going on, everybody? This is the Bengals Show presented by the Riverfront. I am your host, Joe Farsing. Alongside me and back, we missed you, Greg Neiman. Greg, how are you, sir?
Good to be back. Glad to be back.
How are things going in the beautiful land of Northern Kentucky?
They're good. A little chilly this week. We finally got that first, cold chill where you walk outside and you're like, okay, shorts and a t-shirt. Might have to rethink it. But other than that, everything's good. No complaints.
It's fantastic. I had to start my car a couple times this morning, or a couple times in the morning this weekend. My son doesn't like to wear coats or anything, and when it's like 40 degrees outside, I don't like wearing coats either. So I get it, but still. Before we get going, if you guys are watching us here on YouTube, please like and subscribe. If you guys are listening to us on the audio feed, it is youtube.com/riverfrontcincy. It would be awesome. Greg and I are both very handsome for those that are just listening to the audio feed. Again, you got all three of our shows besides just us. You have Late Night Reds with Tim and Ben. You get the Riverfront with Nate and Chad. We have Riverfront U. Our college show had their first episode here yesterday, and that was really cool. That was with Tim and Ryan Luster covering UC, Northern Kentucky, and Xavier. So a lot of big things happening on our end. So again, youtube.com/Riverfront. Since you'll get to catch all of them. Also, if you guys are on Facebook, facebook.com/RiverfrontCincy. Follow us on all the socials. We're good people. We're fun to follow. We're interesting. I think so. Hope everybody's having a good week. Again, the weather's been really nice. It's warm today. Today's Thursday. It's going to be warm again on Friday. Going to get crappy again for the weekend, but we'll deal with it.
Welcome to Cincinnati.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it was in the 30s. Today's in the 80s. It's, it's fun. I'm sure we're going to have snow within the next couple of weeks, but I'm ready for it. Fall's my favorite time of year for whatever reason. I guess
I'm with you.
I like what we think is fall weather, which is like highs in the 50s, lows in like the 30s. Like that's awesome. Like that's, sit on the deck with the fire pit on, have a nice adult beverage. We rarely get that. It's either 20 degrees warmer or 20 degrees cooler, but when we, it is cool as hell when we get that. So
I call it good football weather is what I call it.
Exactly. Absolutely good football weather. And, if you're at the game, if it's 55 degrees and sunny and you're at a game, that's perfect weather. I mean, you wear a sweatshirt.
Absolutely.
You're not.
If you drink a couple beers, you feel like it's 70 all of a sudden. I mean, it all adds up.
Exactly. I mean, Bengals are a good team, so it's, you're not going to be sitting on your hands. You're going to be up jumping and cheering, so that'll keep you going a couple degrees. So it's perfect. All right, on to a quick game review of last week. Again, Bengals did beat the Arizona Cardinals 34-20. What is your 35,000 feet view of this game? Again, I didn't get a chance to go over with thoughts and everything with you being out. So, what are your thoughts on Sunday's game?
I thought that the Bengals started to kind of, I don't want to say, really the only way I can say it is find themselves a little bit. Of course, I think a lot of that had to do with, Burrow being healthy and being able to just extend the play. We're not asking for 5 extra seconds, but him being able to get back to being shifty inside the pocket and moving a step here and a step there, which I think led to the first Jamar Chase touchdown. He had to move and step up and then delivered it. Just buying that extra second and a half, I thought that was big. I thought the defense is the word for me is inconsistent right now. They're struggling to For me, it looks like a trust factor. I think it's just guys that haven't played together enough, trusting each other. So I think that'll come. But overall, I don't think they played perfect by any means, but I thought that they responded to adversity and they continued to get better, and they just kind of trusted the process. And I feel like they're on the right path to being the team that we all thought they might become.
How much of that is just, I mean, the safeties, those are only two players. Um, Another little bit of the issue is that even, outside of the safeties, kind of the cornerbacks, they're extremely young in the defensive backfield. And that's kind of where you're getting a lot of these big plays are safeties missing assignments and missed tackles by the young cornerback, especially if Cheetah was out. We're not sure if he's going to be able to play with his back injury on Sunday versus the Seahawks. You've got second-year player in Dax Hill. You got a second-year player in Cam Taylor Britt, a rookie in DJ Turner. Now we have a rookie switching in and out. Jordan Battle switching with Nick Scott, and we'll get into that a little bit later. But is a lot of that, like over pursuing and just over aggressiveness? Is that just young players being young players, or is that an issue of schemes and you know coaching? I assume it's just young players, but you can speak a little bit better than I can.
To me, it's totally young players. I mean, so for these guys, I know we have preseason reps and things like that, but when you get into an NFL regular season game, you're seeing what it really looks like full speed. When you see an outside run game, that's hitting outside of the tackle, and how do you take that inside out angle? It's different than a preseason game. It's just different. The speed is different in a regular season game. So yes, I think it's just totally young guys, and they just don't have that. Not that they're scared of the play. It's just you don't have that belief in yourself because you've never done it before, because you've never had the opportunity to do it before. So once you get those reps in where you come downhill and you attack it properly and you make the play for a 2-yard gain, that'll change everything. So I think just with games, these guys are going to continue to you're going to see significant improvement from game to game, especially in the run fill to me. Playing the ball in the air, whether you're in the NFL, college football, whatever you're playing, when the ball goes up in the air, there's still only one ball. You got to arrive at the spot. Run game's a little bit different. When you get to an NFL run game, angles are so important. So I do think with every game, you'll see the run game tremendously get better at least from the secondary standpoint.
Yeah, I was watching the replay of the Rondale Moore. It was he took the direct snap and faked the end around, and Dax Hill was on play side safety, and he completely ran across field chasing the receiver. And I couldn't tell if that was Hollywood Brown or Michael Wilson, or who the receiver was on that, but he chased him all the way across field, and that just left the cornerback, which on that side would have been DJ Turner, on the edge, and he was taken out by, I think, tight end, and everyone else was kind of sucked up in the muddle of the linebackers. So that, I mean, there's a 41-yard play because the safety, I don't know, I don't say went hero ball, but completely just missed, just overly aggressive, and just chased him to the other side of the field when he should have stayed put. I mean, Nick Scott was there, was there covering that side of the field, and they had numbers, but
yeah. So I think for those young safeties, it's when you're sitting back there, it becomes a thing of confidence where right now, to me, it feels like the safeties are going, okay, I got to fill in the run game correctly. I've got to do this correctly. I've got to step with this foot correctly. Everything's got to be perfect. You don't need to worry about 100 things. Once they can clear the first hurdle of, okay, I've seen this now. Okay, here's a trick play. I've seen this now. And you start to just feel comfortable. And instead of worrying about 12 different things, you're just playing football. I think right now they're still doing a little bit of thinking because they have to, because they've never been here, and you're seeing new things. So I think as the thinking slows down, with still running multiple looks, as the thinking slows down with reps, all these things will just get tremendously better.
Yeah, I mean, they have the athletes. I mean, Dax Hill is quite possibly the most athletic safety in the entire NFL. And once the instincts and the athlete and actual complete preparation, the stuff that separates your rookies and your reserves from your starters and your next level starters. As soon as that stuff starts settling in, I mean, he's going to be a Pro Bowler. I absolutely believe that. I mean, the instinctual stuff that he can do and how fast, how quick he is. He was in on another sack. He got a half sack, came off the edge and took down Josh Dobbs. And Trey Hendrickson got the other. Yeah, Trey Hendrickson got the other half sack on that play. And they'll figure it out. But the only issue is they've got a couple of games coming up with some really good running backs. Kenneth Walker is damn good second-year running back for the Seahawks. Zach Charbonnet, whoever.
I always say Charbonnet, but
yeah, I mean he's a good-looking rookie running back, and then you have the problem that after the bye with the 49ers of CMC, Deebo Samuel, and the monster. Niners look so good.
Their entire roster, I mean,
I mean they're stacked with all pros. They're not unbeatable, but man, you got to be in your A game to beat them, and we'll deal with them in a couple weeks. But again, a couple positive things from this week. I liked how again they were moving Chase all over the field, not as much pre-snap or not as much motion at the snap, but he ran routes from so many different positions on the field. What they kept doing a lot, and there's a really good follow. He's writes for The Athletic, Ted Wynn, and on social media on Twitter or X, whatever the hell you want to call it, he broke down a lot of the ways that that Jamar was able to get open on Sunday. They were Bengals were running a lot of 3-by-1, and he was lining up on the inside of the 3 receiver side, and that's getting him matched up against tight ends against linebackers, safeties, and just getting real favorable matchups. He had 15 receptions, and 14 of them were considered open or wide open in terms of separation. I mean, there was nobody around him when you know that their Cardinals were completely keying in on him, especially with T. Higgins out. So I expect that's going to continue. Even if T's back, we hope he's back. I would love to see him keep that up and just keep feeding Chase, because what's that's going to do if you're running him on these different routes and you have T on the other side, they're going to have to devote so much coverage, underneath help, or, keep bringing the safety down, that it's going to keep T, it's going to get T set up with one-on-one coverage. And as we saw on the deep pass to Chase, Burrow has now been able, he can now hit that deep ball. I said this on last week's episode that the first couple weeks after Burrow is able to hit that deep ball, Bengals are going to absolutely feast, because teams are still packing, intermediate and short routes, because that's where, where most of his throws are. And when he's getting that accuracy down, that was an absolute dime, absolute dropped right on a spot. Longest air yards completion of his career. If that tells you something about how his calf is doing, was 58.1 yards in the air.
Yeah.
Even as much as they just went back and threw it deep in 2021. I mean, this was his longest air completion for the 63-yard touchdown to Chase. So, outside of that, any other positives, negatives that you pulled out of Sunday's game?
Well, it's wild to me, because I think we talked about this in the preseason. We talked about the Bengals offense being as multiple, with, we were talking about Yosh and having some other guys, the Bengals offense being multiple and moving people around with Jamar Chase to create matchups. And when I see the way they're creating matchups with Chase, it really does remind me a lot of what the Rams do with Cooper Kupp. I mean, how many times have you seen, now it's not exactly the same philosophy, but similar, where Cooper Kupp gets in the slot and then he's matched up with a linebacker and he has the option route of in or out. And now the route tree was different for Chase, but the philosophy as far as lining him up or matching him up with a linebacker was kind of the same. And then you have Puka Nacua on the outside that eats. It was, to me, it was weird that I just thinking about the Rams, which I think is a good thing. I mean, if we're talking about the Bengals passing game being similar to the Rams over the last couple of years, that's probably not a bad thing. But that's kind of what rang in my mind is I'm surprised it took us this long to move Chase around. It just makes too much sense. And then the other aspect of it that really fits in is that, when T. Higgins is healthy on the outside, and Yosh, I thought looked really good. I thought he did some good things. I think you have big-bodied receivers on the outside. It just makes too much sense.
I love having big-bodied receivers, especially. I mean, granted, the Bengals don't really have any small receivers. I mean, T.I. I guess would be the small receiver, but I mean, Chase is 6'1", 200 pounds. Tyler Boyd is 6'2", 6'3", and very solidly built. Yoshi's 6'3", 200 plus pounds. Chase, I mean, they've got a bunch of power forwards. So I think I would like it if they had one of the smaller guys that they could use on gadget stuff like Tutu Atwell. You did bring up Kupp versus a linebacker, and that's bringing up a lot of PTSD from the Super Bowl and Logan Wilson providing absolutely perfect coverage.
Yeah.
So thanks for that.
Hey, Logan Wilson played well again.
Yeah. And if they can get the tackling shored up, again, the missed tackling, that's the stuff that frustrates me. It's one thing guys being over aggressive and playing themselves out of position. That's stuff they can learn. It's the missed tackles. Like that's, I don't know. Again, it's younger players, but I mean, these are players that are physical. I mean, DJ Turner is, for a rookie, for a guy who's not very big. I mean, he's pretty stocky for his size. I mean, he's 5'11", 200 pounds, I think similar size to Cam Taylor-Britt, but it's frustrating to see this many missed tackles, and it's by all three levels. I mean, linebackers are missing tackles. Trey Anderson's missed a bunch of tackles. He doesn't really get the because he's doing so much on the pass rush. He's not getting, and deservedly not getting, any scoring. But he's never, run game has never been a strong suit for him. I mean, he comes off the field in absolute rundowns. But if they can get that short up, and this was a great tackling team the last couple of years. Mm-hmm. So that's what's frustrating. You have just a few players that are new and everybody's struggling. So if they can get that, I think the defense is going to be fine. Yeah. There are some guys who are going to make a lot of players, make a lot of guys miss, but you need to cut that percentage down a bunch.
Yeah, you can't be missing double-digit tackles in games, and I think the Bengals have done that 4 of 5.
I've got that, correct? Yeah,
I've got 4 of 5.
We'll get to that here.
I think it's a good thing. If it's not a good thing, but in terms of bad things that are going to happen to you defensively, if you can at the end of the game say, we got to tackle better, that's something that can be fixed. Now, if you're blowing assignments and things like that, that shows a bigger issue to me, where missed tackles, I think it's just a cohesiveness type thing for me. When you trust your safety behind you is going to be in the exact perfect spot, it changes the way you play. So the missed tackles thing to me, while it is disappointing, I don't think it's necessarily super concerning. I think it actually trends to a positive manner for me, because it will get better. I think it will get better, in my opinion, over the course of the season, as they get to be more of a cohesive unit. Those missed tackles will start to dwindle, and when that happens, watch out. I mean, Bengals become super interesting.
Yeah, they've given up the most explosive plays in the ground game. I think 23 plays of 20 yards or more in 5 games, and that's not good. I mean, they gave up 142, 144, I forget that, 140 plus yards to a not great Rams rushing, or Cardinals rushing attack, especially after Connor went out injured. So it's that, that stuff needs to get better, and it will get better, but they need to get, it needs to get better fast, because teams coming up on the schedule that run the ball a little heavier can do a bit of everything. I mean, that's, you need to be able to make teams one-dimensional if need be. So
yeah, you don't get a whole lot of time to fix your mistakes in the NFL.
Yeah, luckily they've got to get through this week. If they can win this week, get to the bye week 3-3, that's an awesome sign for the team. Again, gives Burrow another week. He said he's close to feeling as close to feeling 100% as he has, and get to this week without any mishaps. Knock on wood right here, and then get that complete week off. Of just nothing but rehab and things like that. Then sets us up well for the last 11 games down the stretch. So
yeah,
shall we give away some awards?
I think it's a brilliant idea.
Let's give away some awards. for the Joe Esposito Award, you wanna introduce this one?
For the we're going with the first award. The Joe Esposito. Are we going with the FedEx Air Player of the Week? Yes. Okay.
For the combo.
Okay. So we're gonna go. Of course, it's a combo, and it's a good combo. We're gonna go with Burrow and Chase. I think most of our people would agree that's probably a pretty good duo. When you have 15 catches, you're setting franchise records. And Joe Burrow looking the way he did, more so than this award or that W. This was just a massive week. I mean, you went from 2 weeks ago, how you feel now, to how you feel now is just, it's a world of difference. So this is about as happy as you'll ever be giving this award to your quarterback and receiver. So pretty easy to give, the Air Player of the Week to Burrow and Chase. It was that much fun to watch. It really was incredible.
Yeah, when Burrow wins the FedEx Air Player of the Week for the best quarterback play, and Chase wins the Offensive Player of the Week for the AFC, that tells you a lot about how the offense was spinning. And if you could have shown highlights from this game, and this looks like Joe Burrow of 2021 or 2022, he was able to slide, make those small movements to open that window. He scrambled for a first down and popped up and the immediate hold the ball out for first down and drop it. He didn't look like he was hobbled. There's still a few times to when you think he would have taken off, but he's wasn't exactly feeling it. But there's the one time in the red zone they ended up kicking a field goal on it. It was third down. He escaped several sacks. It spun out of a sack, moved. It got drilled on the play, but it looked like, the Burrow of 2021 with absolute awful offensive line play, moving out, like escaping all the contact and everything. So that's,
it's crazy. I don't know which play I loved more, the long ball to Chase or Burrow running for a first down. Like, what? That's how massive Burrow running for a first down is right now, because it tells the rest of the league, watch out. They get these awards, they put up these numbers, and you just said it a minute ago, he's not yet fully healthy. Yeah. Yikes. I mean, watch out, because T didn't play. It's just watch out. I'm telling you guys, we've been talking about the Bengals forever, and we're finally here. We've arrived. We're getting close to healthiness. Watch out.
Yeah, better late than never. Easier said than done. I mean, it's frustrating because winning the season and the team looked like absolutely loaded and ready to go. I mean, the offense had so many dudes, and they just haven't been able to operate. I mean, they're operating on 2 cylinders instead of 4, but we're on 3.5 cylinders. We're absolutely getting there. So unfortunately, with the good of Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase comes the not so good.
That boy is good.
Mm-hmm. Good and terrible.
Yeah, the Randy Watson Award goes to Nick Scott. There's not a whole lot that needs to be said here. I mean, he was brought in. Bengals brought him in free agency to replace Von Bell. Absolutely just athletic, has all kinds of physical traits. He has not been good. He's struggling tackling, struggling in coverage. He was actually replaced by Jordan Battle. We remember last year when being asked about Dax Hill, Louis Irvin says, I don't rotate safeties. Well, he's forced to rotate safeties this right now, and it's going to continue this week. Do you think that's going to continue going forward, or do you think, as I do, that coming out of the bye week, Jordan Battle is going to be the starter? Like they'll bring Nick Scott in on sub packages and special, 3 safety sets, but I kind of think that Jordan Battle is going to be the starting safety for the remainder of the season, short of injury or just awful performance coming out of the bye week. Where do you stand on that?
Yeah, I agree. I think clearly that's the vision, or that's where we're headed towards. Obviously, those things can change on the drop of a hat. Jordan Battle comes out, lays an egg. Sure, it could change, but I definitely do think that is the way that Lou's heading or wants to go. I don't think it's a bad thing. I think if Nick Scott is your third safety, I think before the season we would have said, okay, Nick Scott as the third safety, that's all right. I still think it was a good pickup for the Bengals, and I think he's still going to be a useful piece because you need that depth. But I do think that Jordan Battle showed me enough that he deserves a shot to go in there. And to be honest, I mean, Jordan Battle was, for a young guy, he was the perfect guy for this spot. Just an absolute captain, leader, 3-time All SEC at Alabama. I mean, everything about Jordan Battle was perfect to join the Bengals and fill this safety role, and still be able to kind of not be a rookie in his rookie year and kind of be able to be the quarterback of the secondary. So I think that's the way they need to head, and I think it makes the most sense.
Yeah, and in trying to see here, maybe about is the 1/5 or 1/6 as many snaps as Dax Hill and Nick Scott have received. He's actually the second highest graded defender for the Bengals on per PFF, behind Trey. There's a big gap from Trey Hendrickson to everybody else, but that tells you how good of a year Trey Hendrickson's having.
Yep.
And he's also top graded defender in coverage, 77.2, and actually second place is another rookie, DJ Turner. So
He's looked great.
yeah, he's his traditional quarterback passer rating against is top 5 or top 6. They're averaging 44 point something, 44 and change, targeting DJ Turner. And again, for someone who's not he's a shorter corner. I mean, he's 5'11", but he absolutely sticks his nose in. Yeah, he's missed some tackles, but like Cam Taylor Brady, somebody's going to stick his nose in the run game. He made a really nice stop, absolutely stoned someone on the outside on Sunday's game. So it's awesome stuff that you love seeing, and someone, their play is going to get elevated again once they're not working on it. Once they're not thinking, once they're just out there reacting, like they're out there. That this is whatever they see in front of them, they just react to and do it without having to process. Once that comes along with Battle, with DJ Turner, the team's absolutely going to absolutely take off.
Even Dax Hill. I mean, I know he's a second-year player, but I mean, for all purposes, he's a rookie. He's a rookie, guys. I mean, he has essentially no reps from last year, and you can see the plays where he just plays loose and free. You're like, whoa, my. Now, DJ Turner, what I love about him is he's got that dog in him. Not all secondary guys have that. I mean, you don't see a ton of corners that are like, oh, I want to come up and hit you. That's DJ Turner. So I love his mentality and his attitude. And then Dax Hill, when he plays free, it's going to be an interesting thing.
It doesn't hurt that DJ Turner ran a 4.2.
Right.
I mean, absolutely, this guy can absolutely fly. He can keep up with not a lot of people can keep up with Tyreek Hill. Straight line speed, he can keep up with Tyreek Hill. Now, Tyreek Hill's a fantastic route runner, and that's how he loses everybody. But the athletic ability of some of these guys, again, Dax ran a 4.3. These guys are premier athletes. This is what they need to be drafting more of. This is why they've sucked at drafting offensive linemen, because they look at traits instead of just sheer athletes. Get a guy who's got get a guy who's out there bigger than but quit looking at whatever specific thing they're looking at with offensive linemen and get the athletes. So anyway, moving forward this week, game 6, 1 p.m. at Paycor versus Seattle. Again, this winner of our ticket giveaway, Kevin Lynch. He will be at this game. So Kevin, have fun with that game with your dad. Seattle Seahawks are 3-1. They were on a bye week last week. Last game they did play 2 weeks ago against Giants. Their defense had a bit of a day.
Yeah.
Kind of an understatement. 11 sacks. Devin Witherspoon, who's cornerback, fifth overall pick, I think it was top 5 pick this year. He had 2 sacks as a cornerback, and then had a 97-yard pick six. They had 2 interceptions in total. Caveat: it was against the New York Giants. I don't think the New York Giants can beat the Little Giants. If you remember the 1990 movie with Rick Moranis.
I do.
But they are an NFL team, and they have 53 players that are paid actual NFL contracts. But they're not. They had 5 sacks coming into that game total, as through 3 games. So obviously this isn't. I mean, that game's an anomaly. but they have dudes. I mean, Bobby Wagner is still a fantastic linebacker.
Mm-hmm.
They've got players on, they've got athletes on all three levels, and Pete Carroll's a fantastic coach. What do you see from them that makes them a tough matchup? Offense, defense, special, wherever you want to go.
I think Pete Carroll's a really, really good head coach, like a phenomenal head coach. And then I think the thing that makes the Seahawks good is they know who they are. There's no changing them. The Seahawks are gonna be the Seahawks, whether they're up by 40, down by 40, tied, fourth quarter, first quarter. They're gonna do what they do. They're gonna tackle well. They're gonna play defense. They're gonna run the ball. They're going to play action you. They're going to do those things, and they're going to do them well. And they're not going to beat themselves. And when you play the Giants, as long as you don't beat yourselves, you're probably going to be okay, because I don't see Danny Dimes coming out and carving you up. I don't think this is a phenomenal Seahawks team. I've never been on the Geno Smith hype train. I think, a lot of play action, a lot of easy throws there at times. But I do think this will be a good test for the Bengals. I think this will be a really good test. If you could, if we could just create the schedule where the Bengals play teams after they win by 40, I would sign up for that all day long. Seahawks coming in riding high. You get a bye week. You think I'm the greatest thing ever. We're 3-1. Everything's great. That's exactly how I want NFL football teams rolling into town, is thinking it's phenomenal and we're playing great. So sign me up for that.
Yeah, I mean, Geno Smith is doing a really good job of pretty much being a point guard.
Yeah,
he's completion percentage. I mean, he's completing 68% of his passes this year. He's got fantastic receivers. I mean, they're on the short list of teams that can match up. I would still take the Bengals healthy trio over Tyler Lockett, who's, I mean, that guy's a threat. He's got some absolute wheels. DK Metcalf is probably the most imposing physical specimen at receiver since who am I thinking?
Calvin Johnson.
I was going to go back to DJ Boston. David Boston. I think his dad was DJ and played baseball.
Yeah.
That dude was another physical freak. I mean, looks like he's absolutely chiseled out of granite, can run absolutely. I mean, everyone remembers the play a couple years ago on I think it was interception or fumble, whatever it is. And he was looked like a good 20 yards away from the player on defense running downfield. And he chased him down and tackled him short of the goal line.
He chased down Buda Baker, who is not a slouch. Buda Baker's, he can play. And that was one of the most impressive. DK Metcalf scares me. I'm not going to lie. He scares me. I'm not even talking football. DK Metcalf is just so imposing. That guy is, I mean, he's a freak, man. And I mean that in the most nice way you can say it. The guy is just athletically a freak. How he fell to the second round is amazing.
End of the second round. He was almost a third round pick.
Yeah.
He's 6'4", 235 pounds. That's a tight end. Like, that's bigger than Irv Smith. Yeah. And yet he can run. I mean, he was clocked in the 4.3s, or was he even lower? I know his I know at the combine, like, his numbers were absolutely just stupid.
Yeah.
But again, I mean, you're looking at the receiving actual numbers, and there's not a lot to it. He's only thrown for 200 and he's got 846 yards over 4 games. So he's only thrown for 210 yards a game. Again, Noah Fant's a decent receiver. He's actually second on the team in receiving yards as a tight end. Jackson Smith-Njigba hasn't actually gotten too well, talented. I mean, I absolutely deserved to be drafted where he was. 20 targets. He's only got 12 catches for 62 yards. But again, that's still a guy who's got physical attributes. And Bengals are struggling, on trick plays and stuff like that. So, they're going to be licking their chops with Tyler Lockett to run all kinds of stuff. So, and then they've got what's that?
Would not be surprised to see trick plays continue to come at the Bengals' young secondary. It's like opening Pandora's box. Once you give up something, everybody's going to try it until you just absolutely stomp it out. And against the young secondary, it makes a lot of sense. I think we'll just continue to see trick plays. So hopefully the Bengals can put an end to it and stop a couple of them. When you punish people for running them, that's when they stop running them. Hopefully we can get that done here soon enough.
Yeah, it's until the Bengals can prove that they can stop trick plays and misdirection and things of that nature, that they're going to keep seeing it and seeing it and seeing it. Running the ball, they have Kenneth Walker in the third, who's having a pretty good year, 4.4 yards a carry, 283 yards. Zach Charbonnet, only 21 carries, but he's averaging 5 yards a pop. They're good, not great at stuff on offense. Again, the defense, they've got some dudes. I mean, this isn't the Legion of Boom defense from, last decade or so ago, but again, Bobby Wagner is, I can't remember. He's not young. How old is he? 33 years old. But
Yeah, I was going to
he's
say he's got to be.
I thought it was pretty deep, and they've got a young secondary. And maybe hopefully the Bengals can try, can try to mix things up on offense as well. I mean, you've got Devin Witherspoon, who's, rookie. You've got, I guess he's Reek Woolen, not Tariq Woolen. He's now just Reek Woolen.
He changed that? I didn't.
Yeah, now it's only RIQ. Like he got rid of the TA. So,
okay.
Absolute huge cornerback, 6'4". But he's actually having a little bit of a struggle this year in his second year. Kobe Bryant, I don't think is going to play. He's been
where did he go to college, Kobe Bryant?
What's the same school as now 31-0? I need to update this, but 31-0 at home. Desmond Ritter, 5-0, 5-0 in the NFL. You play him on, you play him, especially on the Falcons. If you're playing him on the road or at a neutral site, he's probably not going to play well. But man, you get him in front of home fans, and he absolutely cooks. He looked good. Again, we're not a Falcons, but
I hate him. I'm going to give that was Desmond Ritter's best game for sure.
Just watching some of the breakdown of his throws, he made some absolute high level throws, and it's shows like he's got it in him. He's got the ability. It's whether or not he can get the consistency. I mean, his accuracy kind of waffled a bit as in college, but he's got the ability to be a solid starter. I mean, he's never going to be an All Pro, but again, you're in the NFC South. You just need to have acceptable quarterback. Baker Mayfield is quarterbacking the first place team in the division. That tells you all you need to know. Baker Mayfield is not a good NFL quarterback.
No.
And he's looking like the Baker Mayfield who they thought they thought the Browns drafted all those years ago. So,
and that I dislike Desmond, not dislike Desmond Ritter, but I'm a hater when it comes to UC football, but I will root for Desmond Ritter 1,000 times before I root for Baker Mayfield. Like Desmond Ritter, I just don't like UC football just because I have buddies that are UC football fans. So that's my countering of it. But Baker Mayfield, I don't like him as a person. I think he's a miserable person. I don't think he's a leader. I don't like anything about him. So Desmond Ritter, keep doing well. I'm happy for you, Kentucky kid. So we're happy with that. But Baker Mayfield, no, don't like him.
And like any good Kentuckian, he had to come across the river to make a name for himself. So.
to find success.
Hey, that right there. That is the one good thing that Zach Taylor did for University of Cincinnati Bearcats football team. He recruited him, and then Tuberville was fired, and Bearcats kept honored the commitment, even though he was a low 3-star commit. So we're good there. Anyway, onwards. Again, we're not a UC podcast. That's Riverfront U, and we're not a Falcons podcast. But let us get to the 3 keys of the game on offense. First key number 1, and this is what worked for them last week: get an early lead. You need to get out ahead and start. You don't want them to be able to pin their ears back. Because again, they're not a team that's going to get 11 sacks every game, but they have that ability. They've got guys that can absolutely pin their ears back when they're unleashed and make it a track meet. That they need to be efficient running the ball as well. Again, the Seahawks are one of the best defenses stopping the run this year. Again, they haven't played great teams. They're they're allowing 3.8 yards per carry. The only running back who had success on them was David Montgomery, who is a similar sized running back to Joe Mixon. The other guys, they didn't have to face Saquon Barkley when they played the Giants. So I mean, again, they're not facing the best. They hadn't faced the best running backs in the league, but they've done a fantastic job of keeping them in check when they have with the guys they've had to face. So we'll see. But again, get an early lead, get the defense, get the Seahawks back on their heels, and again, the more you can get Seahawks back on their heels and Geno Smith back on their heels, and we'll get into that when we get to the defensive keys. Things are going to work out better. Second key: keep feeding Jamar. I don't expect him to get 19 targets like he got last week. Give him a dozen targets, whatever, but just keep moving him around, keep the offense schemed around him. Like, you're still going to get guys. I mean, Trent Irwin's got 8 receptions. How many receptions did Trent Irwin have? I think he had 8 receptions.
I think I have it pulled up right here. Let's see. Trent Irwin. Come on, pull up. I'll give you the information in a second.
But I mean, you obviously T. Higgins is going to get those. He's going to get those targets, and I think just keep moving Jamar around like they were. Be creative, line him up in different spots, move him around. Stack receivers again. Just anything to give him a free release or to get favorable matchups. That's what you're supposed to do, and that's what was so infuriating so far this month, or in the first month, was that even with the hobbled Joe Burrow, you still had those studs on offense that they couldn't figure out a way to scheme open. I mean, you see Puka Nacua is a 5th round draft pick out of BYU, and the Rams without Cooper Kupp were able to scheme him open all over the field. And yeah, Matthew Stafford is healthy but I would still take a hobbled Joe Burrow throwing to Jamar Chase over a healthy Matthew Stafford throwing to Puka Nacua or Tutu Atwell.
8 for 60, by the way.
Okay, yeah, I was going to say I thought it was I thought he had 8 catches, a few more targets on top of that. The one interception that Burrow threw was on a target to Trenton Irwin, but it was an iffy play. He was bumped right at about 5 yards, and right at the top of his route when he was getting ready to break inside. They could have thrown a flag. I've seen less contact called, but I've also seen more egregious contact let go. So I'm kind of it not a huge, egregious error, not throwing a flag to him or throwing a flag on the play. But Irwin had the 10 targets and Yoshi had 2 more targets. He got his first career catch, but you figure a bulk of those are going to go to T if he's healthy. Again, you need to just keep finding ways to get your playmakers, and especially when you've got second best playmaking wide receiver in the league after Justin Jefferson, keep finding creative ways to find him. So, third offensive key, and this is the big one. This is what they've struggled with for the interior offensive line: defend stunts and twists. How difficult is it for, especially a younger offensive lineman like Cordell Volson? How difficult is it to defend those kind of pass rush combos? Is it? I mean,
very difficult. It goes back to kind of like what we were talking about with the young secondary defensively. When you're worried about multiple things and you're thinking, it needs to become a very fluid thing. And right now it's not for him, and I get it, because it's not easy. If you put yourself in that helmet and watch what's going on, it's tough. I mean, when you get the twists and the stunts, especially because now in the NFL they come from that wide 9, and then they're looping back inside after already getting 3 yards upfield. I mean, what these guys do athletically is just incredible. But again, with reps, as he can start to feel it, and what happens is, as a player, you start to see it before it even happens. You just see it so many times. Okay, here comes a twist. Like, this guy's here comes the twist. You just start to feel those things instead of thinking about it. And when you think in the NFL, you're finished. You're finished. You just don't have time to think. So it's got to become a natural reaction, and it will. It will with time. But it's definitely to me, that would be the hardest part of playing the offensive line.
Yeah, it's one thing when you've got an absolute game wrecker like a Myles Garrett, like an Aaron Donald, Jeffrey Simmons, someone, especially like those guys, even the interior offense or defensive linemen, they're moving them around, lining them up outside, just trying to get them against favorable matchups, just to kind of get wheels spinning. Um, Not everybody has those guys.
Right.
Seattle doesn't have that guy. 49ers have about 17 of those guys. So that's a concern.
Yes.
But, it, you know, it's when you're not facing a guy who's a game wrecker, letting nobodies, I mean, Arizona doesn't really have, like, they had one guy on defense that had any pass rush, and they were getting free a lot more than I think they should have. Um, that being said, with all the struggles that the interior offensive line had, they had probably their best game as a whole in pass protection, at least.
Yeah.
Alex Kappa had an absolute clean sheet, 51 times dropping back, 0 pressures. Ted Karras only had 1 pressure given up on 51 snaps. So again, if you can get, especially those two guys, like last year, Karras and Kappa, were playing at, Kappa was playing at a Pro Bowl level before he got hurt, and Karras was a middle of the road starter. And if you have those guys playing near that, it doesn't really matter what Cordell Volson does, and you expect him to play better as a second. He's limited by his lack of physical ability, but get those guys, get the interior playing a lot more stout. That just helps a lot more. I mean, the offense, like the run game, is a lot more efficient when you can get some push up the middle, and things like that. So again, the 11 sacks.
If you see Kappa and Karras with those numbers, 1 and 0 as far as pressures, you can pretty much book it. The Bengals are going to win. I mean, if you see those numbers, that means Joe Burrow has majority of the time a clean pocket. Good luck.
Yeah, if the interior of the offensive line is clean, then he can step up in the pocket. You get pressure from the outside. Orlando Brown's going to lose to really fast guys off the edge. He's going to lose to Myles Garrett. But if he can step up in the pocket, it doesn't matter. So you get that kind of productivity, and again, help Volson where you can. Bengals are using a bit more 12 personnel than they've used in previous years. 12, one running back, 2 tight ends to help with the protection. Again, people crap on Drew Sample all the time. He's the best blocking tight end in the NFL. They need to forget that he was drafted in the 2nd round and he was overdrafted by at least a round or 2. Yeah. He has an absolute use. I mean, he's a very useful and needed player for the Bengals.
Well, this is the first time I kind of feel bad for him, because but seriously, if Drew Sample was, let's say the Bengals got him mid 4th round, there wouldn't be a single person that complains about Drew Sample. But because he was drafted in the 2nd round, unrealistic expectations that he was going to develop into some pass catcher, when all the guy's done is show up, work, hasn't been, he's had some bumps, and, there's been some bumps in the road, but overall in year 5 for Sample?
Yeah, year 5.
If he was a 4th round pick, everybody would love him. Instead, they drafted him in the 2nd, and it just put him in a bad spot.
Yeah, a lot of the issue was, if you look at physical traits, and again, like I harp on drafting physical traits over anything else. You look at the numbers he put up. You look at the raw athletic score, his hands and stuff like that. They were actually really, really close to George Kittle's, and this was right after Kittle was drafted. So I get what they were looking at. His pass catching, and I don't even know if it's route running. Like he doesn't have a lot of, he's just not very, with the ball in his hands, he doesn't have a lot of wiggle. I think his hands are fine. They just don't, he can't create separation. So that, so that's absolutely limited him to a blocking tight end. But I mean, the guy blocks better than a lot of the offensive tackles that the Bengals have run through there in the last handful of years. So he, again, it'd be great if any tight end on the Bengals could provide any bit of productivity. They've got the 2nd or 3rd worst amount of productivity out of the tight end spot. Irv Smith has pretty much been he has on the year 9 targets, 5 catches for 27 yards. Mitch Wilcox, 3 catches for 17 yards. Drew Sample, 2 for 6 yards. I mean,
I'm surprised that you said they're third worst. I can't believe. I mean, who's worse? My goodness. How do you get worse than that?
I know, and I can't remember, 'cause I just saw that stat today, and I can't remember who was worse. No team has to put less, has to have less investment in terms of draft pick and actual like free agency or anything like that than the Bengals. I mean, they didn't draft anybody in the deepest tight end draft when they need a tight end, and they signed the lowest the lowest end of the starting capable tight ends in free agency. So I think that's hurting them right now if they had a capable tight end. And they're not a team that makes trades in season, but man, I think they should look at some of the teams out there that are looking to shed players. Denver's looking to shed players already because their season's, I don't know about lost, but not looking so great. I would be fantastic at like the I don't know if the Panthers are looking to shed anyone, but I'd be happy as hell to bring Hayden Hurst back to bring him back in the fold.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, this is the time of year. I forget when the trade deadline is, but they've got a few more weeks. But you know, it would be nice if they were to, Greg Dulcich is second-year player that the Broncos have out of UCLA, and he's one of the best blocking tight ends. Plus, he has a lot better receiving ability than anybody they have. That's someone that I think they'd be able to. I think they'd be able to have.
The other one that makes a little bit of sense is I don't know exactly what the numbers are on his contract. I know he signed a nice deal, but CJ Uzama with the Jets, I mean, bringing him back. I know when NFL trades, the cap hits and all that it's a whole thing. But if his price was right, I mean, he doesn't do a thing for the Jets, not a thing. And I do think he would be able to come into this offense and just kind of do what he did the first time around. Catch the ball when you're wide open and then, add a couple yards onto it afterwards.
Yeah, I mean, he still has pretty decent size hit through this year.
Does he?
Yeah, it's the cap number this year is, well, dead cap after this year is 11. Or no, I'm sorry, it's 6 million dead cap hit if he gets drafted or cut before next year, and then goes down from there. But he's still got a few more years. They're avoidable, but he fit well in here. But that's the thing. Like, everyone kind of looked at him, and I did too. I mean, he was not he's not a great tight end. Like the contract that he signed with the Jets was kind of ridiculous for a player of his caliber to sign. Like, good for him. Like all-time awesome guy. I mean, he was one of those guys that you kind of thought the Bengals would miss him more in the locker room than on the field. But you look at the contract that he signed for, and you're like, that contract for that guy, like that doesn't exactly seem commensurate for the kind of player that they that he was. But again, you'd be able to get better production and productivity from him than anybody else. I mean, what did he get? 3 years, $24 million with a 5-year bonus before last season. So anybody is, again, and I like what Irv Smith is supposed to be able to provide. And maybe it's a prospect of them struggling with pass protection, that he hasn't been out on as many routes or is looking elsewhere. I don't know. They're just not, they need productivity from the tight end. And I think these next couple weeks, if Burrow is truly back to close to, to prime Burrow, and if he still doesn't get the ball, he still doesn't get any targets or anything. I don't think he was targeted once last week. If he's not targeted at all, then they need to move on and find someone who's going to be able to work better. So, we shall see. All right. On to the defensive keys. You want to handle these?
I got it. The first one, which we touched on a little bit earlier, tackle. It's simple. It's easy. But the best defenses you'll ever see and ever watch, they tackle well. If you tackle well, you give yourself a chance. This one is, I don't want to say the least important, because obviously if you miss tackles, you're going to lose games. But this is the one that least concerning to me, I guess, would be the words I want to use. I think the Bengals will continue to get better. We mentioned this stat as well. They've missed at least 10 tackles in 4 of the 5 games. The one game they did not was against the Rams. They missed 3. Coincidentally, I thought that was their best performance. So they've missed 11 against Cleveland, 11 against Baltimore, 3 versus the Rams, 14 against Tennessee, and 11 against Arizona. It's just way too many. If we can keep that number down, that gets your offense on the field more often, gives your offense more time of possession. Everything helps the team play team football. So not just stop them from scoring points, but the longer we have the ball, the better off we are, and give Burrow as many opportunities as possible. So hopefully we can just continue to see a trend in the right direction in the tackling department, which I think we will. I just think it's a unity thing. So hopefully we can get the tackling taken care of. The next 2 are the ones that I really care about a little bit more, specifically for this game and some of it for moving forward. Defending the misdirection and change of direction is a big one with the young secondary. It's something that we kind of hinted at earlier, just feeling comfortable and not thinking back there, which I do like the makeup of the young secondary. Sometimes the young secondary, you get nervous. You're like, oh, I don't know about all these, especially when you have 3 or 4 of them. This group, I like the makeup that they have. Like Dax Hill, I love just what he has inside that he brings to the game. He has an instinct that not everybody has. DJ Turner has that dog in him, and I think Jordan Battle's just a really smart football player. So I think once they can slow down the misdirection and the change of direction and kind of throw trick plays into that, if they can just kind of stop that snowball from rolling downhill, when they get that stopped, I think it's going to be like a world off their shoulders. It's just going to be huge relief. And I think you're just going to continue to see them play faster and faster and faster. The misdirection thing is going to be something that we have to focus on, not only this week with Seattle and some of their bootlegs and getting outside the pocket, but also San Francisco moving forward. You got them staring us down here in a couple of weeks. And if there was one word you would use to describe San Francisco's offense, the word would be misdirection. They run about 6 plays, but they run them from 4,000 formations and 2,000 motions. So misdirection and change of direction is going to be something that you've got to be better, and you have to get that fixed. And then the last one, and this is always a massive key for the Bengals because I just think it fits exactly what Lou Anarumo wants to do, and that is pressure Geno Smith with the front 4. And Joe provided us with a great stat here. He's got the same. This is for Geno. Same Pro Football Focus grade when he's blitzed versus when he's not blitzed. So to me, what that tells me is blitzing him doesn't benefit you, which we need to drop in coverage, and we need to be able to rely on Trey Hendrickson and Hubbard to get that outside rush, and we need to push from the interior, and we need to make Smith move off the spot. The one thing I've noticed about Geno Smith with the Seattle Seahawks is that when he is throwing from the designated spot that he wanted to, and Seattle will move that around. It's not always, 5 yards right behind the center. They'll move that pocket. They'll move his throwing platform. They'll move that spot throughout the game. But when he throws from where he wants to throw from, and he has clean feet in front of him, he actually does a pretty good job. Now, if you put him in a situation where he has to, make things up a little bit and be creative, I don't really think that fits his game as well, even though some would think it would. When he throws from the spot, he's really good. So if you can get pressure with 4, move him off that spot, and he's throwing into big coverages, I think the young Bengals secondary might be able to snag a couple. So 2 and 3, the misdirection and the pressuring with 4, I think are massive keys. I think if you can check off at the end of the game, if you say, hey, we defended misdirection and the boot, and we defended and we can check off, pressuring Geno Smith with 4, I'll feel very good about what the results and what the scoreboard will say at the end.
Absolutely. up to the tackles. Like it's not always about when you miss tackles giving up the huge play. It's 3rd and 7, throw the ball short of the sticks, they break a tackle and get 8 yards to keep the drive going. That's another couple minutes that your offense isn't on the field. Yeah, everybody wants to be able to, nobody wants to see this big, huge, long chunk plays, a guy going 50, 60 yards because you missed a tackle in the backfield. Those aren't the ones that kill you. I mean, those happen, but those aren't the ones that happen more often. It's the ones, again, when you break a tackle and give up 12 instead of 6, and it's especially 3rd down, or, you've got them in second and, say they get stopped behind the sticks on 1st down, you got them 2nd and 12, and they pick up 9 instead of 4, because you miss a tackle, or they pick up the 1st down because, bad tackling.
Yeah, I think it's a great point too, because especially with the Bengals, you score a touchdown, Burrow scores a touchdown, you have that 3rd and 7, you make that tackle, the ball goes straight back to Burrow and Chase and Higgins, and they punch another one in. Well, now all of a sudden the other team's going, whoa, what did we sign up for? And now when their offense comes out on the field after a 14-0 run, they're feeling pressure. So that one missed tackle just has so many implications behind it that I think if they can just shore that up, it's going to make a world of difference for the Bengals.
Yeah, and again, and this was kind of the thing. These are things that would get ironed out in time. You want them to get ironed out before it's too late. I mean, yeah, but last week was a must-win game, and they won, but that doesn't mean they can breathe easily. If they lose to the Seahawks, and they're 2-4 and facing the 49ers. I mean, that's games in Santa Clara. They don't play in San Francisco. They play elsewhere in the Bay. No one's going to have a lot of confidence that. What's that?
Can you blame them? Would you want to play in San Francisco?
There's no room in San Francisco. That city is absolutely so compact. Like you have to tear down to make room for anything. And what confidence do you have that they're going to be able to travel cross country and beat the 49ers with that team on offense and defense? This game is not as must win as last week, but it's not far from it.
I agree.
You're at home. You're going to have a very loud, raucous fan base behind you. So I mean, it's incredibly important. They need to make this a absolute one. Tie one of the Seahawks' hands behind their back. Either it's keep them from throwing the ball or keep them from running the ball. But that's important. One more thing on pressure and pressure and Geno Smith. His turnover worthy plays more than double when he's got pressure in his face. It's 2.2%, which isn't high, but it's not specifically low. Just on when not pressured. When he is under pressure, that over doubles at 5%. So you get pressure in his face, he's going to throw the ball up for grabs. That being said, I mean, the Bengals dropped about 5 interceptions on Sunday. Logan Wilson, he has fantastic hands, has so many picks, and he had one. I don't think he's had one easier. I don't think he would have had an easier pick than the one that he should have had.
I don't think he couldn't believe it. I think he was stuck.
That's one of those oh my God, the ball is right to, and you just kind of overthink it. I'll give Trey Hendrickson a little bit of a pass because he's defensive end. First up, him playing the ball, he read that screen absolutely perfectly. He absolutely stopped his rush and dropped back into coverage and got right in the passing lane. Absolutely just great recognition. And he's a defensive end. He's not used to picking the ball off. Yeah. So I'll give him a little bit of a pass there. Although seeing how many times TJ Watt's done that bullshit to us. I did that happen twice last year, one in each game. It would be nice to be able to turn the tables on that because I mean that he would have had a pick 6 on that. They were in
for sure.
I mean they were in Cardinals territory, so
that was that was an absolute clinic on how to play the screen from a defensive lineman. I mean, it was perfect.
Yeah, someone who who's only known as a pass rusher and not exactly great when he's got to drop back into coverage. As the Bengals will mix stuff up with different zone blitzes and everything, but read that perfectly, got right in the passing lane. But Bengals did pick 2 off, got the pick 6 from. We didn't even mention that Cam Taylor-Britt, but
that was awesome
with the pick 6. I mean, that was great. Right after they Bengals kind of crapped the bed on the goal to go on 4th down. So that to me, and again, we didn't touch on that, and I'll just touch on it quickly here. It's so frustrating. They kept running the ball up the middle. Again, it's my disdain is a strong word. I don't have disdain for Joe Mixon. I just don't think he's a very good running back. people were talking about, oh, he had a great game last week. 25 carries for 82, 83 yards. That's not a good gain. A long of 10. There was less like negative plays. So it wasn't like it's been with like a 15-yard gain and then 1 yard gain on a 1 yard loss.
Yeah.
But if you're only getting 3 yards of play, like he was averaging 3.2 yards of play, that's not very good efficiency. And first down from just inside the 10, gets 6 yards. Okay, cool. It's second and goal from like the 4. Then he runs it down to the 2, runs it down to the 1, and then gets like, at what point, for that matter, just play action or something. Or
Yeah.
I get you don't want to boot Joe Burrow, but a little bit of creativity. That's the stuff that frustrates me. I get your game plan is completely compressed when you're in the red zone. You can't run. You've only got a quarter of the routes you can run because you only have that small field position. But you've got Tyler Boyd. You've got Jamar Chase. Use them.
Yeah.
You're not a good running team. You are one of the right now. You're one of the worst running teams in terms of efficiency in the league. Like why are we pounding the ball into the middle? Oh God,
I was stunned they ran it all forwards. I was stunned. I could not believe that.
I didn't like them running it first, especially because I hate first and goal from like the 9 or 10. I'd rather them get tackled at the 11 and be first and 10 from the 11 than be first and goal from like the 9 or the 10. It just seems like that's so much harder to convert right there. I was kind of screaming at the TV when they ran on first down. They picked up 6 yards. I mean, it actually was an effective play, but then they just kept running. I'm like, stop, throw. $219 million quarterback.
Yeah.
Let him throw. So
were you unaware that Zach Taylor has this special thing where when he misses on fourth down, somehow it just works? He's got that in his back pocket. He just misses on fourth down and then it all works out and you end up kicking a field goal as time expires over the Chiefs. There we go. We got it in. We dropped it in.
Yeah, that was absolute luck and some fortuitous. I don't want to say like lucky penalties on that game. You're talking about the game in 2021, right? When they had it for like 6 minutes.
Yeah.
And like that was, the holding, the defensive holding call on Boyd. It was defensive holding, but I mean, it wasn't a very egregious one.
Yeah.
And those rarely go the Bengals' way.
Right. It's one if it's the AFC Championship and you're in Kansas City. I highly doubt you're going to get that call, but
yeah, if you're not wearing number 15 in red,
right,
then yeah, you're not getting that call. So yeah, he does have a little bit of luck, but also he's not a good play caller.
Yeah,
I would love it if he would give up play calling. And again, like it doesn't matter if he's calling plays or Brian Callahan calling plays because it's still the same scheme. Like they're all collaborative on the scheme, but just some of it. Again, it will get better as the playbook begins to open up with Burrow being able to make more throws and being able to be more mobile. But that's been the big complaint about Zach Taylor. I mean, people are convinced that he's a terrible coach. I don't think he's a terrible coach. I think he's a great Monday through Saturday coach and a mediocre Sunday coach. And I'm curious if he didn't have the play calling duties and gave him to Callahan or, the next guy, I wonder how that would change. Just because some of the situations, and he's absolutely lost his balls. Any fourth down, I mean, he's become one of the most conservative coaches on fourth downs. And when he came in, like he was pretty crazy on some of this stuff. I mean, I remember 2 years ago against the Vikings opening week, they went for fourth down in their own territory on their first drive and didn't get it. I'm like, okay, like I like that kind of aggression. Is it always smart? No. And that stuff, being dumb and aggressive sometimes bites you in the ass if you're Mario Cristobal and the Miami Hurricanes. For those that weren't there, end of the game, who were they playing? Was it
Georgia Tech?
That's Georgia Tech. They've got the ball, no timeouts, under a minute. Literally, this is victory formation. Take a knee. And they handed the ball off and fumbled. Georgia Tech drove 66 yards in 3 plays for a go ahead for the game-winning touchdown.
Yeah, there was Georgia Tech. So when Miami snapped the ball, There was 38 seconds left. Georgia Tech has no timeouts.
Yeah.
Okay, that's dumbass move number one. All you have to do is take a knee. Okay,
Game over.
just take the game. It's over. So I always try to put myself in the shoes of the coach. Like, okay, what was he thinking? This is one of the dumbest things I've ever witnessed on planet Earth. So ignorant. I mean, you gave away a victory in the ACC, or who knows what conferences anymore, but you gave away a victory in the ACC because you wanted to run the ball. I'd have fired the guy immediately. That's the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen, ever. Me and my buddy have a comment, that we always say. Every single coach, NFL, college, they should have somebody in the booth who is a gambler. Because gamblers know. They're like, look, just take a knee. The game's over. Do this. Da-da-da-da-da. You should hold them right here. There's 10 seconds left. Just hold their entire defense and let them try to go tackle you. Like, the things that gamblers will come up with to try to cover the spread, that's what every coach needs. And this guy clearly didn't have it, because that is one of the most ridiculous decisions I've ever witnessed.
And what's messed up is that totally fucked up their season. They were
100%.
4-0. I mean, they looked like a good team. Georgia Tech is not a good team.
No.
And first off, you love Georgia Tech, who they haven't been able to throw the football since Calvin Johnson was there. Like, they're a run for, they're Paul Johnson's still there?
No, they're not. They've changed up their offensive philosophy.
Okay.
But
they're
but
back
you're
to
right.
okay.
I mean, they still haven't been. They've been horrible. It's been a long time since they've been dynamic, and yeah, it was still Calvin Johnson the last time, especially throwing the football. They're a bad football team.
Yeah, and their season's shot. I mean, now they're 4-1, and it's one thing if you lose to a quality opponent for that one loss. I mean, the ACC is a decent conference. Like, they're actually looking pretty good this year. I mean, Louisville is 6-0, and they just kicked the crap out of
that was impressive.
Yeah, over Notre Dame. I mean, Florida State's 4th overall. They look like a strong conference. Not even that's with Clemson being kind of irrelevant. But you're not coming back from losing to Georgia Tech. I mean, your season's down the crapper, and now you just hope to, maybe if you can beat Florida State, or beat some rivals and make a nice bowl game. But if you had any larger expectations, like you're screwed. And the thing is, the same shit happened to him when he was in Oregon.
Yeah,
the same
thing. Yeah. I heard a report that he doesn't believe in kneeling the ball. Well, you better start. I mean, are you nuts?
Yeah, your boosters. I mean, you've got boosters there that will not take a 10-2, 10-3 season if you lose because of dumb shit like that. They'll buy out your contract, and you'll be out on the street.
Just think about the difference in recruiting. I mean, so they were ranked like 15th. Okay, so you win that game, you're up to 12. Okay, let's say you win that, you get in the top 10. Miami's in the top 10. You don't think they're going to be talking about that? Miami in the top 10, Mario Cristobal, you're back. They did it. Da-da-da-da-da-da. Now you're sitting at 4-1 at 25th, and you are not going to fly up the rankings because you lost to a horrible Georgia Tech team. I can't tell you how egregiously bad this is. It's the worst decision I've ever seen, and it's not close.
Now they get to travel to Chapel Hill to play the Fighting Drake Mays. I mean, North Carolina is 5-0, number 12 in the country, and they've got, in my opinion, the best quarterback prospect coming up in the draft. I think he's we'll say higher floor than Caleb Williams.
Yeah,
but one of those that's like couldn't go unmentioned here. Again, it's nothing to do with what we talk about, but like, what the.
Just imagine that game though. You're at 12 North Carolina with maybe number 13 Miami.
Yeah,
I mean, you're talking about
top 15 programs.
You're talking about the game of the week, a game everybody's going to love this. Nobody gives a shit now. Just not smart.
Yeah, I mean that game would have been the marquee matchup. I'm trying to see what time that game is played, but I mean it would have been a prime time. Would have been a perfect prime time game for ESPN. They they could have had game day there, and it's like great, fantastic, good job.
I did see a guy that had a parlay for money line Miami. It was like $10 to win $3,000. He had hit all of his other bets, and this guy not taking a knee. I mean, woo! Cristobal, You're killing us. That would hurt.
Oh, man. The moral of the story, as always, don't gamble.
Yeah. Victory formation is the best formation in football, and he refused it.
I mean, I thought we would have learned after Joe Pisarcik, the Miracle at the Meadowlands. Like, just no, don't. Just take a knee. Victory formation. Throw Trent Taylor in back so we can do a backflip. That's all you got to do.
Yeah.
All right. Final thing before we get out of here. Predictions. I've got the Bengals winning 23-17. Their offense isn't going to be able to move the ball as well. I mean, they put up almost 400 yards. I think Burrow's still going to have a nice game. I don't think they're going to be able to run the ball much at all. I would love for them to run it, but I don't think they will. I think the defense is going to turn them over. I think the Bengals are going to turn them over a couple times. I think Geno Smith's going to put the ball up in harm's way a few times. Still going to struggle tackling. I think Kenneth Walker, if you got him in fantasy, is going to have a nice, good game for you. But I do have the Bengals winning 23-17. You went a little bit bigger. Let you.
I went 31-20. I just see basically, I think we see it the same way. The only difference I see is that with those turnovers, I think the Bengals will have a couple basically gifted scores, either field goal or touchdown. I just see not necessarily the defense taking it all the way back, pick six or fumble return, but I just see them turning them over a couple times on the plus side of the 50 and the Bengals getting some freebies.
I'll take it. I'll take it.
Please.
3-3, going to a bye, heal up. Hopefully T is going to be able to play. Hopefully Cheeto's going to be able to play. So,
yep.
Any final thoughts before we get out of here?
Who dey?
I echo those sentiments exactly. Again, join our family, patreon.com/riverfrontcincy. We do awesome Zoom hangouts whenever, everyone who's available can jump on, and, we just talk sports or whatever the hell is going on. Our Slack channel is fantastic. Need to get Greg to get in there a little more. He's too old.
Yeah, I'm trying. It is trending upwards, but that was from none. But I'm getting better because I'm just not good with technology, but I'm getting better.
We had a fantastic conversation in the Slack channel this morning about Nickelback, about Creed.
Oh yeah.
Limp Bizkit got thrown in there, all because the Rangers, for whatever reason, Texas Rangers are using Creed as a theme song for them, and I don't know why, but they're working. They're in the ALCS. I mean, good for them. But really lively debate about about some really awful bands. Limp Bizkit got thrown in there. I threw some Kiss slander towards Tim Daniel. I'm sure he doesn't appreciate that, but it's deserved. Again, for those, if you're watching this on YouTube, you guys subscribe to us already. You better be subscribing to us already.
Hit that subscribe. Come on.
Smash that like button. You have to smash it. You can't hit it. You've got to smash it.
Yeah.
YouTube.com/RiverfrontCincy. Facebook, for those who are on Facebook, same thing, Riverfront Cincy. Again, SeatGeek, had a promo run before, but code word Riverfront, one word, $20 off your first SeatGeek order. Outside of that, again, Who Dey, Bengals are going to win this Sunday, 1:00. We will be back Sunday evening around 8:00 for our live post-game wrap-up. Tune in, jump on, ask us a question. I will be drinking Victory beverage. Hopefully no tears in my beers. I had a Victory apple cider and rum, I think. Really good. Perfect fall drink.
That actually sounds really good.
Oh, it was good. It was really good. So those are better than tears in your beer. So
yeah.
Outside of that, until then, folks, everyone, have a good week.